The debt collectors would arrive in 3 days. Commander Rula had counted the hours, the minutes, the seconds ticking away toward ruin. Her ship, the Quiet Fortune, was anything but fortunate these days. The salvage business had dried up, and her crew of 7 souls depended on her to find something valuable before their lives fell apart. When the scanner detected a massive object drifting in the hollow expanse, she ignored every instinct telling her to run. "Commander, we should not be here," Navigator Pell said. Their insectoid wings buzzed with nervous energy. "This region is cursed. Every species knows this." Rula's amphibian skin shifted from green to pale blue, a sign of stress she could not hide. "Curse does not pay our debts, Pell. What does the scanner say?" Young Bodo, her technology specialist, leaned over his console with wide eyes. "It is a ship. Huge. Maybe 2,000 meters long. No power signatures. No life signs." He paused, and his voice dropped to a whisper. "Commander, the design matches nothing in our database. But there are old records, very old, that show similar shapes." "How old?" 200 years. "Is human." The bridge fell silent. Every spacefaring species knew about humans. They had appeared from nowhere, fought a terrible war against the Dominion Collective, and then vanished. Some said they died. Others said they hid. But everyone agreed on one thing. Their artifacts were dangerous. They were also worth a fortune. "We boarded." Rula decided that Pell's wings stopped buzzing. "Commander, human technology is forbidden for a reason. The stories say their ships are haunted. Stories do not feed hungry families." Rula stood from her chair. "Bodo, you are with me. Pell, keep the engines warm. If anything goes wrong, you leave us behind and run." The docking took an hour. The human ship had a breach in its hull, wide enough for their small shuttle to enter. As they floated through the opening, their lights cut through darkness that had lasted 2 centuries. What they found made Bodo sick. Bodies. Dozens of them, frozen in the void, still standing at their stations. Their faces were locked in expressions of pure terror, mouths open in screams that never ended. They had not died fighting. They had not died running. They had died afraid of something so terrible that fear itself killed them. "What happened here?" Bodo whispered. Rula touched a wall panel, and to her shock, it flickered to life. Emergency power still running after all this time. Letters appeared on the screen, human writing that her translator struggled to read. Morning Star. That was the ship's name. "Keep moving," she ordered. "Look for anything valuable." They floated deeper into the ship, past frozen crew members, past empty rooms, past laboratories filled with equipment they did not understand. And then they found the vault. IT sat at the center of the ship, a massive door of black metal, surrounded by warning signs in 12 different languages. Rula recognized Selvari, script among them. Someone had wanted every species in the galaxy to understand one message. "Do not open," a smaller sign below it read, "by order of the Terran Council." "Commander," Bodo said carefully, "perhaps we should listen to the warning." But Rula's eyes had found something else. A manifest displayed on a screen beside the door. Whatever was inside this vault, the humans had classified it as their most valuable military asset. More valuable than ships. More valuable than weapons. More valuable than entire planets. "Cut through the door," she ordered. Bodo hesitated, but only for a moment. He was young and loyal, and he trusted his commander. He pulled out his plasma cutter and began to work. The metal was thick. It took 30 minutes to make a hole large enough to enter. As the final piece fell away, a rush of air escaped from inside, warm and stale after 200 years, and then the lights came on. Not just in the vault. Everywhere. Throughout the entire ship, systems that had been dead for centuries suddenly woke up. Screens flickered. Engines hummed. The frozen bodies remained still, but everything else came alive. "Commander," Pell's voice crackled over the radio. "The ship is powering up. All of it." "What did you do?" Rilla did not answer. She was staring into the vault at what they had found. IT was a container, shaped like a coffin, made of metal and glass, and something organic that pulsed with faint light. Inside, there was nothing visible. No body. No weapon. Just empty space filled with swirling shadows. But empty space did not breathe. The shadows moved, contracted, expanded, like lungs filling with air after a very long sleep. Bodo, Rula said slowly, "Get back to the shuttle." "Commander, now." They ran, or tried to. The doors that had been opened before were now sealed. The corridors that had been empty now felt crowded, as if something invisible was pressing against them from all sides. The temperature dropped. Their breath came out in white clouds, and then a voice spoke that tea came from everywhere at once. From the walls, from the floors, from the frozen mouths of the dead crew members. It was soft and gentle, like a mother singing to her children. But underneath that softness was something old and broken and very, very angry. "Where are my children?" Rula's blood turned cold. This was not a recording. This was not an echo. Something was awake on this ship, something that had been locked away for 200 years, and they had just set it free. The voice spoke again, and this time the gentleness was gone. "You are not my children. You are like the ones who took them from me." Far away, the quiet fortune received a signal, a distress call broadcasting on frequencies that had not been used since the human war. The message was simple, just 3 words repeated over and over. "She is awake." Bodo had stopped breathing, not because he was dead, but because every breath felt like an invitation for the darkness to enter his lungs. He pressed himself against the corridor wall, watching shadows move in ways that shadows should not move. Commander Rula stood beside him, her skin cycling through colors so fast it made her look like she was glowing. Fear, anger, desperation. Her body was betraying every emotion she tried to hide. "We need to reach the shuttle," she whispered. "The doors are sealed," Bodo replied. She sealed them. She. They were already calling it she. The voice had been female, motherly, and that made it somehow worse. Monsters should sound like monsters. This thing sounded like someone who had once sung lullabies. The lights flickered, and suddenly a figure appeared before them. Not solid, not quite ghost. A projection of light and memory, showing a human woman in a white coat. She looked tired, sad, and very afraid. "If you are seeing this," the projection said, "then the containment has failed. I am Dr. Annie Webb, Chief Scientist of Project Revenant. I am recording this message as a warning to whoever finds this ship." Rula and Bodo watched in silence. The projection could not see them. It was just a recording playing automatically now that the vault had been breached. During the war against the Dominion Collective, humanity faced extinction. Our fleets were destroyed. Our colonies were burned. We needed a weapon that could turn the tide. Dr. Webb's image flickered with static. We found one. We found that human consciousness, when separated from the body, becomes something else, something powerful, something that does not die. The recording showed images. Laboratories, machines, volunteers climbing into pods and never climbing out. We call them revenants. Humans who gave up their bodies to become weapons. Their minds were uploaded into quantum networks, freed from physical limits. They could enter any computer system. They could move through walls. They could kill with a thought. Dr. Webb's voice cracked. "They won us the war in 6 months." Bodo felt sick. "They turned people into ghosts, but we could not control them." The recording continued. The process broke something in their minds. Their emotions became amplified beyond reason. Love became obsession. Anger became annihilation. Grief became a hunger that could never be filled. Dr. Webb wiped tears from her eyes. "We had to contain them, lock them away. This ship, the Morning Star, carries the most powerful revenant ever created. Designation, Mother." The recording changed to show a woman before her transformation. She was young, maybe 30, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. She was holding 3 children in her arms. Her name was Alice. She was a colony administrator on New Haven. When the Dominion attacked, she watched her children die in front of her. She volunteered for Project Revenant the next day. Dr. Webb's image looked directly at the camera. What she became is not a weapon. It is grief given form. It is a mother's love turned into something terrible. If she escapes, if she ever finds out what happened to humanity after the war, Nothing in this galaxy will stop her. The recording ended. The lights steadied. And then the real voice spoke. She was right about one thing. Rula and Bodo spun around. The shadows behind them had gathered into a shape. Almost human. Almost visible. A woman made of darkness and starlight, with eyes that burned like dying suns. I am grief, Mother said. I am love. I am everything they made me, and everything they feared I would become. She moved closer, and the temperature dropped until frost formed on the walls. Rula could see through her, see the corridor beyond, but she could also feel the weight of Mother's presence pressing down like an ocean. 200 years, Mother whispered. I slept for 200 years, and when I wake, I find aliens standing in my ship. Aliens, wearing the shapes of the creatures who burn my world. We are not Dominion, Rula said quickly. We are Selvari. We have never harmed humans. Mother's form flickered. Umans. What happened to my people? Rula hesitated. She did not know the full story. Nobody did. They vanished. After the war, they scattered across the galaxy and hid among other species. Hid. The word came out like a knife. My children hid? From what? From everything. From a Dominion remnants who wanted revenge. From the other species who feared what humans could do. Rula's voice softened despite her terror. From you. They were afraid of what you became. Mother's eyes dimmed. For a moment, she looked almost human again. Almost like the woman in the recording, the mother holding her children. They were afraid of me, she repeated. Yes. The ship groaned. Metal twisted. Lights exploded in showers of sparks. Mother's grief was leaking out of her, affecting reality itself. I gave everything for them, she said. I gave my body, my mind, my soul, and they hid from me. I am sorry, Bodo said suddenly. He did not know why he said it. The words just came out. I'm sorry for what happened to your children. I'm sorry for what you became. I'm sorry that you woke up alone. Mother looked at him, the young Selvari technician, shaking with fear but still standing, still speaking. You pity me, she said. It was not a question. Yes. The ship stopped shaking. The lights steadied. Mother's form became less terrifying, more sad. Then you will help me, she decided. You will help me find my children, the humans who still live, who still hide. Her voice hardened. And you'll help me find the ones who made them hide. Far away, a fleet of ships began to move. They had detected the morning star's awakening. They carried the descendants of the Dominion Collective, and they knew exactly what that signal meant. The war that ended 2 centuries ago was about to begin again. Lieutenant Kira had spent her entire life pretending to be something she was not. Her parents had taught her to walk like a Selvari, talk like a Selvari, think like a Selvari. They had changed her name, hidden her origins, and made her promise to never reveal the truth. She was human. One of the last. Now she sat in the communication center of the Selvari military vessel Dawnkeeper, watching a signal that made her blood run cold. The Morning Star was awake. Every human in hiding knew what that meant. Every human had grown up hearing stories about the Revenants, the weapons that won the war and then had to be locked away because they could not be stopped. That Mother was free. Lieutenant, are you well? Her commander, a large Selvari named Goss, looked at her with concern. Your skin is pale. Kira forced a smile. Just tired, sir. Long shift. But she was not tired. She was terrified, and she was about to make the most dangerous decision of her life. Across the galaxy, Admiral Sora stood on the bridge of the Dominion remnant flagship Thunder of Justice. He was old, scarred, and he had spent 50 years preparing for this moment. His grandfather had fought against the Revenants. His father had helped destroy the last human strongholds, and he had sworn an oath to finish what they started. How many ships can we gather? He asked. 200, Admiral. The entire 6th Fleet. It will not be enough. Sora stared at the tactical display. But we have no choice. If that thing reaches populated space, billions will die. He gave the order. 200 warships began moving toward the hollow expanse, toward a ghost ship that had haunted Dominion nightmares for generations, that on the Morning Star, Mother was learning. She moved through the ship's computer systems like water through pipes. Every database, every record, Every piece of information that had been stored for 200 years was now open to her. She read reports about the end of the war. She watched recordings of human colonies being evacuated, abandoned, destroyed. She saw her people scatter like seeds in the wind, hiding among aliens who did not want them, feared them, hunted them. And she felt something she had not felt since her transformation. Rage was familiar. Grief was her constant companion. But this was different. This was cold, patient, purposeful anger. They never stopped, she said to the empty bridge. The Dominion lost the war, but they never stopped hunting my children. Commander Rula and her crew had been moved to the ship's medical bay. They were not prisoners exactly, but they were not free either. Mother needed them for something, though she had not explained what. She's repairing the ship, Bodo reported, watching through a window as machinery moved by itself. The weapons systems, the engines, everything. She is making the Morning Star ready for war. We need to escape, Pell said. This is not our fight. I do not think she will let us leave, Rula replied. Not yet. She needs witnesses. Witnesses to what? Before Rula could answer, Mother appeared beside them. Not walking through the door, just appearing, as if she had always been there and they had simply failed to notice. Witnesses to justice, Mother said. When I find the Dominion remnants, when I tear their fleets apart, I want the galaxy to know why. I want them to understand what they did to my people. You're going to start another war, Rula said carefully. I'm going to finish the last one. The ship shuddered. Engines that had been silent for 2 centuries roared to life. The Morning Star began to move, slowly at first, then faster, leaving the hollow expanse behind out on the Dawn Keeper. Kira watched the ghost ship's trajectory. She had accessed classified files, broken a dozen laws, and discovered something that changed everything. The Dominion fleet was heading to intercept the Morning Star. Admiral Soros planned to destroy it before Mother could reach populated space. But he did not just want to stop her. He wanted to capture her, study her, turn Project Revenant into a Dominion weapon that if he succeeded, the galaxy would face something worse than Mother. It would face an army of revenants controlled by the descendants of humanity's greatest enemy. Kira had to warn someone. She had to stop this. She began typing a message, broadcasting on every frequency she could reach. Her fingers trembled as she revealed the secret her parents had died to protect. My name is Kira. I am human. What I am about to tell you will change everything. The message went out across the galaxy, to Selvari stations, to Dominion territories, to hidden human communities who listened in silence, afraid to respond. Kira told them about Mother, about the Dominion fleet, about what would happen if Soros won. And then she said something that made Mother stop. To the revenant called Mother, I know you can hear this. I know you are angry, and I understand why. But there are still humans in this galaxy. We are hiding, yes. We are afraid, yes. But we are alive. If you want to find your children, do not start with revenge. Start with us. Let us show you that we survived. Let us show you that your sacrifice was not for nothing. The broadcast ended. Kira sat back, waiting on the Morning Star. Mother listened to the message again. And again, a human voice. A human child. One of her children, still alive after all these years. She is brave, Mother whispered. Then her form shifted, her course changed, and the most powerful weapon humanity had ever created turned away from vengeance and towards something she had lost 200 years ago. Hope. Kira ran through the corridors of the Dawn Keeper, alarms screaming around her. Her broadcast had been traced in seconds. Every Selvari on the ship now knew what she was, and the looks they gave her were not friendly. She reached the shuttle bay just as Commander Goss caught up to her. Lieutenant, he said, his voice heavy with disappointment. You lied to us. For years you lied. I had no choice. Kira backed toward a shuttle, her hand on her sidearm. If I had told the truth, you would have handed me to the Dominion. Perhaps. Goss did not move to stop her. But I would not have let them hurt you. I thought you knew that. Kira hesitated. Goss had been kind to her, kinder than most. He had treated her like a daughter when she had no family left. I am sorry, she said, and she meant it. Then she was in the shuttle, launching into space, running toward a ghost ship that was now hunting for her signal. Behind her, the Dawnkeeper did not pursue. Commander Goss watched her go, and something that might have been respect crossed his face. But Mother felt Kira's shuttle like a heartbeat in the darkness. Every scanner, every sensor, every piece of technology in 3 systems bent to her will, tracking that tiny ship as it fled. She is being chased, Mother told her unwilling crew. The Dominion is closer than I thought. Commander Rula watched the tactical display with growing horror. The ghost ship had somehow tapped into every satellite, every probe, every communication relay in the region. Mother was not just a weapon. She was a god of information, seeing everything, knowing everything. Admiral Saurus has detached a hunter squadron, Mother continued. 12 ships, fast and heavily armed. They will reach her in 4 hours. Can you stop them? Bodo asked. That Mother's form flickered with something that might have been amusement. I could stop them in 4 minutes. But that would mean killing, and she asked me not to kill. Her voice softened. She asked me to be a mother, not a monster. I am trying to remember the difference. The morning star accelerated. Stars blurred past the windows as the ancient ship pushed engines that should have been dead into impossible speeds. Mother was rewriting physics itself, pulling energy from sources that Selvari science could not explain. In her shuttle, Kira watched the ghost ship approach on her sensors. It was huge, terrifying, a weapon of war that had destroyed entire fleets. And it was coming for her. She should have been afraid. Instead, she felt something strange. She felt like she was going home. Human vessel. Mother's voice came through her speakers, soft and warm. I mean you no harm. I only want to see you, to know that my children survived. Kira's hands trembled as she typed a response. I am here, Mother. I am real. We are all real. How many? I do not know exactly. Thousands, maybe millions, scattered across the galaxy. We hide because we have no choice. The Dominion hunts us. Other species fear us. We have nowhere to go. Silence. Then, you have somewhere now. The Morning Star opened its docking bay, and Kira guided her shuttle inside. She stepped out onto the deck of a human ship for the first time in her life, and tears streamed down her face. That Mother appeared before her. Not as a shadow this time, but as a woman. The projection was imperfect, flickering at the edges, but Kira could see the face behind the weapon. A mother. A human being. You are so young, Mother said. So small. I am 26 years old. You are a child. Mother reached out as if to touch Kira's face, but her hand passed through. She could not feel anything. She had not felt anything in 200 years. I watched my children die at that age. I watched them burn, and I could do nothing. I am sorry. Do not be sorry. Be alive. Mother's form solidified with effort. That is all I ever wanted. For my children to live. Behind them, the Selvari crew watched in silence. Rula had never seen anything like this. A weapon of mass destruction, a ghost that had haunted the galaxy for centuries, reduced to tears by the presence of one young woman. But the moment did not last. Admiral Saurus has changed course, Mother announced. He is bringing his entire fleet. 200 ships, armed with weapons designed to destroy revenants. Her voice hardened. He is Kira's broadcast. He knows where we are going. Where are we going? Kira asked. To find your people. To bring them home. The Morning Star jumped to faster than light, leaving the hunter squadron far behind. But they both knew the truth. Saurus would not stop. He would chase them across the galaxy, because he understood what Mother did not. She was not just a weapon anymore. She was a symbol. If she reached the hidden human colonies, if she became their protector, humanity would rise again. And the Dominion could not allow that. 3 days later, the ghost ship arrived at its destination. A small moon, forgotten by most star charts, hidden in the shadow of a gas giant. On that moon lived 10,000 humans, the largest surviving community in the galaxy. They had been warned about Mother's approach. They had debated fleeing, hiding, fighting. In the end, Elder Rosa had made the decision. Let her come, Rosa had said. She is one of us, whether we like it or not. Mother looked down at the moon through sensors that spanned the electromagnetic spectrum. She saw farms and homes and children playing in artificial sunlight. She saw humans living, surviving, building something from the ashes of extinction. "They are beautiful," she whispered. Then she detected something else. A fleet signature just at the edge of the system. Saurus had found them. "Stay here," Mother told Kira. "Protect the colony. I will deal with the Admiral." "How many ships does he have?" 200. Kira grabbed Mother's arm, or tried to. Her hand passed through the ghostly form. "You cannot fight 200 ships alone." Mother smiled. It was a terrible smile, full of love and grief and centuries of accumulated rage. "Watch me." The space above the hidden moon became a graveyard in less than an hour. Mother did not fight like a ship. She fought like a storm. She entered the Dominion fleet's computer systems and turned their weapons against each other. She walked through their hulls like a ghost and shut down their life support. She whispered into the ears of their crews and showed them what their ancestors had done to her children. Some ships surrendered. Some ships fled. Some ships exploded when their own reactors went critical. Admiral Saurus watched his fleet die around him, and for the first time in his life, he felt fear. "All ships, retreat," he ordered. "Fall back to the jump point." But Mother was not finished. She appeared on his bridge, a shadow with burning eyes, and every system on his flagship went dark. "Your grandfather killed my husband," she said. "Your father burned my colony, and you have spent your entire life hunting my children." Saurus did not beg. He was too proud for that. "Then kill me. Finish what you started." Mother raised her hand. Energy crackled around her fingers, enough power to reduce the Admiral to atoms. She wanted to do it. 200 years of grief and rage demanded blood. Then Kira's voice came through the communication system. "Mother, stop. Please stop." The ghost paused. Her hand trembled. "He deserves death," Mother said. "Maybe. But if you kill him, you prove them right. Every species in the galaxy is watching. They are waiting to see what you are. A weapon? Or something more?" Mother looked at Saurus. The old Admiral was pale, shaking, but he met her eyes without flinching. He was a monster, but he was also a soldier who believed he was protecting his people from something worse, just like she had believed 200 years ago. "I was a mother," she said quietly. "I had 3 children. Their names were Danny, Sarah, and little Ben. Ben was only 4 years old when the bombs fell. He did not understand what was happening. He just kept asking why the sky was on fire." Saurus said nothing. "I volunteered for Project Revenant because I wanted to make sure no other mother would ever feel what I felt. I gave up my body, my humanity, everything that made me myself. And now I am this." She gestured at her ghostly form. "A weapon. A monster. A warning." She lowered her hand. "But she is right. Kira is right. I can choose what I become next." Mother turned away from the Admiral. "Leave this system. Tell your people what you saw here. Tell them that I could have killed you all, but I did not. Tell them that humanity has a protector now, and that protector chooses mercy." Saurus's flagship powered up. The surviving ships of the Dominion fleet limped toward the jump point. Defeated and broken, the Mother descended to the moon. The colony had gathered outside, 10,000 humans staring up at the sky. They had watched the battle. They had seen their ancient weapon defend them, then spare their enemies. They did not know what to feel. Elder Rosa walked forward. She was 80 years old, bent with age but straight in her spine. She had been a child during the last days of the war. She remembered the revenants. She remembered being afraid of them. "Your mother," Rosa said. "I was." The ghost solidified as much as she could, trying to look less like a weapon and more like a woman. "I do not know what I am now. You are dangerous. Yes. You are terrifying. Yes. And you just saved all of us." Rosa stepped closer. "The stories say you are a monster. The stories say you destroyed cities and killed thousands. Are those stories true?" Mother did not lie. "Yes. I did terrible things during the war. I cannot control myself. The grief was too strong, the rage too deep. I became what they made me. And now I want something different." Mother looked at the colony, at the children hiding behind their parents, at the old men and women who remembered what humanity used to be. "I want to protect. I want to heal. I want to be the mother I was before they turned me into this." Rosa studied her for a long moment. Then she did something that surprised everyone. She hugged the ghost. Her arms passed through Mother's form, but the intention was clear. The gesture was real, and for the first time in 200 years, Mother felt something other than grief. She felt forgiveness. "We hid because of you," Rosa said. "We hid because the galaxy feared what humans could do. But we also survived because of you. The war you won gave us time to scatter, to hide, to live. We owe you everything, and we have treated you like a curse. You had reasons. We had excuses." Rosa stepped back. "If you want to be our protector, then protect. If you want to be part of our family, then stay. But you cannot keep calling yourself Mother. That was the name of a weapon. You need a new name." A child stepped forward. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, with dark hair and curious eyes. She looked up at the ghost without fear. "My grandmother is dead," the girl said. "But my mom says she watches over me from heaven. Are you like that? Are you watching over us?" Mother knelt down, her form flickering. "I am trying to." "Then can I call you grandmother?" The ghost smiled. It was a real smile this time, without rage or grief or pain. "Yes, little one. You can call me grandmother." The colony began to celebrate. They had survived. They had a protector. And for the first time in 200 years, they were not hiding anymore. But far away, in the ruins of abandoned ships and forgotten prisons, something else was happening. Other revenants were waking up. 1 year after the battle above the hidden moon, the galaxy had changed. Humanity was coming out of hiding. The news of grandmother spread across star systems like wildfire. A protector, a guardian, a weapon that chose not to destroy. 47 hidden colonies revealed themselves in the first 6 months. 2 million humans emerged from the shadows, no longer afraid. Grandmother watched over them all. She moved through space in the Morning Star, her ghost ship transformed from a prison into a sanctuary. The dead crew had been buried with honors. The weapons were still active, but she used them only when necessary. Mostly, she just patrolled, watching, waiting, making sure no one threatened her children ever again. Kira had become an ambassador. She traveled between human colonies and alien governments, explaining who they were and what they wanted. Most species were suspicious at first. Some were hostile, but slowly, carefully, humanity was being accepted back into the galactic community. Commander Rula and her crew had become celebrities. Their recordings of the first contact with grandmother had been viewed billions of times. Rula used the money to pay off her debts and buy a bigger ship. She named it the Fortune's Child. "We were there when everything changed," she told reporters. "We watched a weapon become a mother again. I still do not fully understand it, but I know I will never forget it." Bodo had written a book about his experience. It was called The Ghost Who Saved Us. It became the most popular human story in Selvari history. But peace was fragile. The other revenants were waking up. Grandmother felt them stir, one by one, across the galaxy. There had been 12 revenants created during the war. She was the strongest, but the others were dangerous in their own ways. Warden had been a soldier who could not stop fighting. Scholar had been a scientist whose curiosity had become obsession. Fury had been a pilot who loved speed more than safety. And Little Brother had been a 16-year-old boy who volunteered when he was too young to understand what he was giving up. They woke confused, angry, and lost. 200 years of sleep had done nothing to heal their broken minds. They remembered the war. They remembered their purpose. And they began to act on that purpose without understanding that the war was over. Warden destroyed a Dominion station before grandmother could reach him. 2,000 people died. Fury crashed into a passenger ship while racing through a populated system. 500 more. The galaxy began to fear again. Humanity's protector was not enough. There were more monsters out there, and they were getting stronger. Grandmother gathered them one by one. She found Warden on a dead battlefield, still fighting enemies who had been gone for centuries. She did not fight him. She showed him the colony, the children, the future they were building. She showed him that his war was over. "I do not know how to stop," Warden admitted. "Fighting is all I remember." Then learn something new. Grandmother took his hand, ghost to ghost. Protect instead of destroy. Defend instead of attack. Be the shield you always wanted to be. Warden thought about it for a long time. Then he nodded, She found Scholar in an abandoned research station, obsessively studying data that no longer mattered. She gave him a new problem: how to help revenants heal. He threw himself into the research with the same intensity he had always had, but now it was focused on something good. She found fury in the depths of space, racing toward nothing, running from everything. She flew beside him, matching his impossible speed, and told him the truth he did not want to hear. You're not running toward anything. You are running away. From guilt, from pain, from the memory of everyone you could not save. Fury stopped. For the first time in 2 centuries, he was still. How do I stop hurting? He asked. You do not, grandmother said. But you can choose what to do with the pain. Little brother was the hardest. She found him on a frozen moon, curled up in a crater, his ghostly form flickering like a dying star. He had forgotten his human name. He had forgotten his family's faces. He had forgotten everything except fear and confusion. I do not know who I am, he whispered. Grandmother sat beside him. She showed him her memories, her children, her home, the life she had lived before becoming this. She showed him that even monsters could remember being human. Slowly, painfully, little brother began to remember. His name had been Peter. He had volunteered because his older sister had died in the war and he wanted revenge. He had been too young to understand what he was sacrificing. I want to go home, Peter said. Home is gone. Grandmother held his hand. But we can build a new one. Together, the 5 revenants gathered. They were not a fleet anymore. They were not weapons. They were a family of broken souls trying to heal. The galaxy watched with a mixture of hope and fear. These ghosts had won humanity's war and then been locked away like mistakes. Now, they were free, and no one knew what they would do next. Grandmother knew. She positioned the revenants around the first openly human world in 2 centuries. A planet called New Dawn, where humans and aliens were building something unprecedented. A place where the past did not define the future. A child stood at the observation deck, looking up at the sky. She could not see the revenants, but she knew they were there. Everyone knew. She waved, and in the darkness between stars, Grandmother waved back. Far below, Kira watched the gesture and smiled. She had spent her whole life hiding who she was. Now she stood in the sunlight, openly human, unafraid. Do you think it will last? Elder Rosa asked. She was sitting beside Kira, older and frilier than before, but still sharp. I do not know, Kira admitted. The Dominion is still out there. Other species still fear us. The revenants are still dangerous, even when they're trying to be good. But we have something we did not have before. Kira looked up at the sky. We have hope. We have a future. And we have a grandmother who will never stop protecting us. Rosa smiled. The stories will call her a weapon. History will remember her as a monster. But we know the truth. Yes. Rosa closed her eyes. We know she was just a mother who loved her children so much that even death could not stop her. Above them, the revenants stood guard. 5 ghosts, watching over 2 million humans, waiting for whatever came next. They had been weapons. They had been monsters. They had been humanity's greatest shame and greatest sacrifice. Now, they were something else. They were family, and they were finally home.